Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Focus TV. Happy to be with you all. Got Octavia Wyatt, Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., Wilson Turpay Jr., and once again, welcome to the Focus TV. We got a lot to get through tonight. Obviously with basketball ending, at least just for a little bit, show's going to change. We got some welcome additions, courtesy to Cardell, always keeping the wheels turning. So on tonight, we're going to start things off with Octavia going to talk about her division. Just fun times over there, NFC East. It's always something going on, whether it be positive or negative. That's for you to decide. We'll see just a little bit. We're going to get to our new segment. You guys just wait till we debut that. Got a DC United update. And then obviously the 9-4-50 breakdown. Each and every region, Moyer, we're knocking that out. Got a PYBL Fall Showcase standouts. And, if we got time, we got time for a little bit of rapid fire. We shall see. But again, thank y'all for tuning in. Octavia, what's going on in the NFC East? I wanted to make sure I enunciated East instead of using the one of the many other monikers that division goes by.
Nah, you can go ahead and add an L on the front of that. That's fine. We're used to it by now.
I'm in no position to do that.
Yeah, another lackluster week in the NFC East. It's come and gone. I found out that I can do better with this if I just go ahead and get my team out the way. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do. Eagles played the Ravens this week, and I will say I was a little bit surprised. Although of course we did lose. It was 30-28. Carson Wentz was 21 of 40, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 carries for 49 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown and 1 lost fumble. Sanders had 9 carries for 118 yards, 1 reception for -6 yards. Travis Fulgham had 6 receptions, 75 yards, and 1 touchdown. And somebody you probably have never heard of, Jason Kroom, tight end, had 1 reception for 3 yards and 1 touchdown. Yeah, you've never heard of him because he's just recently been elevated from the practice squad. And he will be there a little bit longer in this game. Zach Ertz injured his ankle, and he will be out 3 to 4 weeks. On top of, we've already been missing Goddard for the last couple of weeks as well. Hopefully he's coming off of IR soon. But that leads us to tight ends Richard Rogers and now Jason Kroom as the 2 tight ends that we have. And if it didn't get any worse, Miles Sanders also will not be playing this Thursday as he has a knee injury. That's all that they have so far. As bad as I thought this game was going to be, it wasn't. I was very surprised that we did as well and had enough strength to come back from a 17-point deficit, which they've done the last 2 weeks, coming back from big, deficits, especially when you have a starting unit that only has 2 starters playing on the offensive side. There were only 2 starters, with that being Wentz and then your center Kelsey. Only 2 starters. Everybody else was not a starter that ended up leaving this game. So again, as all teams are really, the injury bug is definitely prevalent going around. I'll say that I think Carson played better. I think he's starting to settle more. It's crazy because I feel like he kind of plays better with the backups and these backup wide receivers, But again, the turnovers continue to kill us. I don't know why Carson automatically starts to think he's a runner again. I guess to try to get back into that, but fumbled the ball there. But all in all, I have a slight hope because, again, we're in the NFC East. Next 3 games are against NFC East opponents. This Thursday, we'll play the Giants. But again, with really no starters, so we shall see how that goes. But yeah, the game could have been different if 2 drop passes weren't dropped. Jalen Rager, Miles Sanders could have had an upset on our hands, but that goes back to discipline and doing what you're supposed to do, which obviously we don't have right now. In another game, battle between the NFC East teams. The Giants played the Washington football team. The Giants got their first victory of the year. They beat the Washington football team 20-19. For the Washington football team, Allen was 31 of 42, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 2 carries for 8 yards, and 1 fumble loss. J.D. McKissick had 8 carries for 41 yards. McLaurin had 7 receptions for 74 yards. Logan Thomas had 3 receptions for 42 yards and 1 touchdown. And Sims had 1 reception, 22 yards, 1 touchdown. On the other side, Daniel Jones, 12 of 19, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 7 carries for 49 yards. Devontae Freeman, 18 carries, 61 yards. And Darius Slayton had 2 receptions for 41 yards and 1 touchdown and 1 carry for -3 yards. Man, what goes on here? So as we all know, with Haskins being benched, I honestly don't see that big of a difference in the quarterback play. I just think Ron Rivera wants his guy. I think that maybe he may have a certain pause due to the last play. After Allen fumbled the series before and the Giants ran it in, they were up 20-13. And after that, they decided Allen, was able to string together a good run and a good possession, drove them all the way down the field, to which they scored. Ron Rivera decided to go for 2, to go for the win and not for the tie. And I honestly think if that was Dwayne Haskins, they would have won. And I say that because I think Dwayne Haskins would have ran for it. Kyle Allen just kind of stood there, didn't really know if he should run or throw. He basically had nobody in front of him for the next 6 yards, so he could have just ran and dove in to score for the 2-point conversion. I think last week, with him getting kind of knocked out the game, he was a little bit scared. I think Haskins would have ran for it. But again, I just think Ron wants his guy, and that's the guy he wants right now, and Haskins isn't doing enough for him. But if it was me, I would have went for the extra point. I get what they're saying. Basically, Ron Rivera is trying to say that he's trying to teach them how to win games, not tie games. But again, in the NFC East, ties can help. You never know how this will play out for them as the season goes forward. Yeah, so it's still kind of lackluster for me on both sides. The Giants get their first win under Joe Judge. They had a great interception, so their defense did play okay. It's kind of hard to say either team was really, really good in this game. It was kind of just, as the game went on. I do feel like Allen did well. I feel like their offense was more fluid. They were able to put together longer drives than they have recently, but the longer drives didn't really always turn into 7 points, 6 points, 7 points, whatever you want to call it. But they were able to string together some good possessions. The defense is still a little bit suspect. They're also going through injuries with Sadiq Charles from the O-line going down as well. So, again, everybody's O-line in this entire division just seems like it's a mess. So, yeah, that happens. So, it's just a little bit rough going for them, but I'm sure the Giants will have positive thoughts with being able to get their first win of the season. Washington, their offense just they had good momentum. Like I said, they were able to put together good drives and stretches of plays, but they were always killed by some type of turnover. Again, as we see. So, yeah, that's how that game ended. The last game in the NFC East this week, which played last night. The Cowboys played the Cardinals, and it was a debacle. The Cardinals beat the Cowboys 38-10. Andy Dalton was 34 of 54, 266 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and 2 carries for 4 yards. Ezekiel Elliott, 12 carries, 49 yards, 8 receptions for 31 yards, and 2 lost fumbles. And Amari Cooper had 7 receptions, 79 yards, and 1 touchdown. Last week I said with Dak being out and Andy being in, that I felt like they were going to give the ball to Zeke more, which they did, but they weren't anticipating the 2 fumbles. Before the fumbles happened, the game was 0-0. They were able to contain Kyler Murray as much as possible in the beginning. But I really feel like those 2, the very first fumble, they were able to go down and score. And then on the next series where they got the ball back, they scored again. I feel like that was the momentum because from there it was no looking back. And it's funny because they had a couple missed passes in the beginning of the game where they could have been already up before the fumbles happened, but it appeared that Murray and his wide receivers were kind of on different pages. They were having a little bit of issues. But as you see, they got that together really quickly. Watching that game last night, I knew Kyler Murray was fast, but he is fast. Like, he was gone. Nobody could catch him at all. It's crazy that for the Cowboys, their defense is just doing so bad. And their 4 home games, they've trailed the Falcons 20-0, the Browns 31-14, the Giants 17-3, and then the Cardinals 21-0. With those previous games, we've seen that Dak was able to throw them back into the game. And without Dak, it's looking a little bit bleak. A lot of the reports and stories that happened all this week about Dalton was just that, he should be able to keep them moving forward. They should be able to progress even without Dak because Andy Dalton's a good quarterback. He just never had a lot of weapons, which I don't particularly agree with, but he should be able to do it. It doesn't look like he was able to do anything. The 1 touchdown that they got was in garbage time. And then they couldn't even stop Kenyon Drake on a 64-yard touchdown at the end of the game as well. It was just all bad for them. And it could have even been worse. Jordan Hickson dropped a very easy pick that he could have had on Andy Dalton early in the game. And again, like we talk about offensive line, Zach Martin, which was like their last starting offensive line. He got hurt in the game and didn't return. Leighton Vander Esch came back. Probably didn't notice because it didn't change much on the defensive side as well. It was just ugly all the way around. Luckily for all of these teams next week, they get to play each other. So we'll have at least 2 wins in the NFC East and at least 2 losses. Or you never know, we might have 4 ties. You never know. 2 ties, excuse me. So the Eagles will play the Giants this Thursday, and then the Cowboys will play the Washington football team on Sunday.
Fun times. Fun times. A lot of great football going in that division. Somebody gets to host a playoff game. How about that? One of your teams gets to host the playoff.
And Cardell definitely showed me. It's funny too because like I told Cardell earlier, I didn't see his message until today, and my dad brought it up to me when I came home the other day as well. He's like, "So y'all was out there fighting in the stands?" I was like, "What else is new? Like they always fight. That's like a Philadelphia staple. Like it's not a game until somebody fights in the stand." I told Cardell the one game that I ever went to at Lincoln Financial, there was a fight right in front of me. So I'm not surprised. It was the first game where they were able to have fans, and I can only imagine the things that were going on in there. So it does not surprise me at all. Nobody can ever make me be like, "Oh my God, it was a fight there." I'm just like, it's just another Sunday at the Link. So yeah.
I'll tell you a serious question. I'll tell you about the whole division. Do you think it's for all the teams is too much attention paid to headlines instead of football? Because like when we cover Maryland football last year, you notice like the media and scout lists are next to each other. We ain't see a lot of NFC East teams, scouting or whatnot, a lot of those games, a lot of those home games, you know what I mean? And that's Big Ten. They second behind the SEC as far as talent. So that makes me wonder, like, what's really going on? Because I mean, that's a breeding ground for pros. That whole conference. So I don't know. I don't get it. And 3 teams are in this region, so it's like
it's crazy, right? The one team that's not even technically in the East, too. Like, it's just wow. I really have no words. Like, it's like it's always been like the running joke, like the NFC East isn't as great as the other divisions, but it's never been this bad as long as I personally can remember. I'm sure it has been eons ago, probably at one point, but I personally never remember where like all 4 teams were like really bad. It was like if 2 teams were really bad, like one team was like kind of decent, they may not be great, but they were winning winnable games. Like we're actually losing games at like not just us, but people in the division outside of like the Washington football team and the Giants. Like I kind of always feel like the Cowboys and the Eagles already have a leg up. But this year, I don't like to chalk it up to injuries or anything like that. Like it is what it is. If you out there, you getting paid to be out there, like you need to be playing. And nobody is playing. They all look really bad. Like every team in this division has issues that they need to fix like ASAP. And to be honest, like I said, the only 2 teams that I feel like would be able to fix anything would be the Eagles and the Cowboys. I feel like that with the other 2 teams, like it's just not enough continuity. Like the Eagles being the only team in the division that bring back the same coach from last year. Like all the other 3 teams are dealing with new coaches, new play callers. So and then you factor into not having a real off season and people trying to learn new things. Like it's definitely crazy, but that's why you're a pro. That's why you get paid to play. So you can't really use it as an excuse, but I look at what the facts are. I understand that's probably tough for them to do, but I feel like the good teams do it, and honestly, you see the bad teams don't do it.
All right, before we move on, just want to say congrats to the league winners, both the men and women's side. On the men's side, Team AR beat Nellis Realty Group 63-47. TJ Gatson led the way with 14 points, while Erme Snega and Chase Davis had 10 apiece. Jimmy Jenkins had 14 to lead Nellis. On the women's side, Running Gun knocked off Bird Gang 59-51, and they were led by Chance Graham and Alin Sankar with 18 points. With 18 and 17 points respectively, leading the way for Bird Gang was Nicoya Anderson with 15 points. That's going to take us to our very first break. When we get back, Cardell let you know who stood out. Week 1 of the PYBL Showcase. You're watching Focus TV. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Focus TV. As promised, we're going to go to Cardell with the PYBL Fall Showcase Week 1 standouts.
All right, jump right into it. As Wilson just said, the PYBL had their first week of the Fall Showcase. Everybody know the pandemic has just messed up everything as life as we know it. So the PYBL folks put together a nice event where they got about 160 top players in the area to come and play through live stream. So for exposure, so coaches all around the country can see them. The thing I liked about it, they mixed up the pool. It's about 20 teams and 8 players to a team. They mixed up the pool. So, and they got different coaches from different high schools to come in and coach. And they're sponsored by local businesses and whatnot, which is unique and honestly fun. The thing about it is, with the players, you're playing with guys you may have competed against on the AAU circle throughout high school, and then you're playing with guys you may not know. You know what I mean? So you're forced to learn one another, play team basketball, and it's refreshing to see. And we got to really see who knows the game, who can play the game, and who are truly deserving to be, showcasing in front of college coaches and earn scholarships, because that's what this is about. And as usual, there are always standouts from week one, but I'm not going to jump through who's. I'm just going to give you my point of view, guys who jumped out, to a strong start, you know what I mean, in the showcase. I'm going to start off with 6'8" Tyson Brooks, forward out of Arundel High School. He's a senior, athletic, physical big who does the dirty work, but has enough skill to keep defenses honest. He ran the floor well. He's a capable double-digit rebounding big. He defended well on the perimeter, pick and roll situations, and is a solid post defender and rim protector. Offensively, he stepped down, knocked down mid-range jumpers consistently. One sequence, he followed a miss with the two-hand dunk in traffic, and then on the next possession, pops out and hits a mid-range jumper. He has to still improve his ball handling, passing, and decision-making, but he has the tools to gain, D2, low, major D1 attention, especially being 6'8" and able to move like that. Next up is a player I've talked about before, especially for 995 league. Brand Freeman, 6'1" point guard, National Christian Academy. Senior, he's committed to George Washington. He continues to savvy play for 995 league. For most of the game, like I said, playing with new players, you don't want to step on any toes, especially being a point guard. Coaches are looking. For most of the game, he set the table for his teammates. You know what I mean? That you can see that's what his goal was, and he defended well. But in the fourth quarter, he came on strong, especially in the clutch. He came through with a barrage of threes, including 3 straight threes from NBA range, and with like 2 minutes left in the game to bring his team within range to try to win it. Even though they fell, late. But just the way he played that game as a point guard lets me know he'll be just fine in college, because I think he's starting to get understand, which is what a lot of point guards struggle with. He's starting to understand when to be aggressive and when to feed and dominate that way. And that's an art in itself. You don't really see that a lot no more, even at the NBA level. Next up is Hanna, 5'11" point guard, senior out of Bullitt School. Scrappy floor general with a lot of wiggle in his game. Don't let his size and appearance fool you. He's tough, man. He's real tough. He got in the paint at will, shot well from 3. Was a pest defensively on ball and won all the 50-50 battles. I mean, any loose ball that was on the ground, he got it. He has a lot of heart, and to me, he's the type of player you win a lot of games with at the college level. I should expect some low major D1s to come calling if they haven't called already. I think he's that good. Chris Kuzenka, we saw him down there, the Slam City event. Me, Wilson, and Raymond. 6-foot point guard, senior, Centerville High School. To me, he was flawless. There's really nothing I could point to outside a couple shots he missed. He ran point guard to perfection with the way he blended scoring and facilitating without any turnovers. Adding how efficient he was shooting the ball off the bounce and on the move, combined with the strong pressure defense. It was just a flawless performance. If he keeps this up, he will have a lot of programs contacting him with offers. Another kid, Jonathan Lamothe, I've talked about him before. He's on that loaded team to run 15 and under team that won the championship at 995. 6'4" guard. He's a sophomore at St. Francis Academy out of Baltimore. Lethal combo guard, played both point and shooting guard effectively over the weekend. His feel for the game and craftiness when it comes to scoring the basketball is just, is off the charts, especially for his age. He's advanced, man. He plays the game like a senior in high school. It makes him a tough cover. To me, he's one of the top guards in the area, regardless of the class. The only thing that gets him is sometimes, he get a little too flashy. It's like the game's too easy, so he let me try. I'm like, no, just keep it simple. If you can complete the play, go ahead, add a little flash to it. But sometimes he get a little carried away, and then there's turnovers. But man, he got all the tools, man. It's crazy how good he is to be so young. Next up is Bez Main, 6'3" guard. Senior out of Good Counsel. You can see Bez was on a mission due to the energy he played with on both ends. It paid off greatly throughout the game, with him causing havoc defensively, with timely steals and deflections, and offensively scoring within the flow of the offense, including going the length of the floor to score the go-ahead basket for his team. When he puts it all together, I'm talking about, scoring, facilitating, defending, rebounding. When he puts it all together, he's easily one of the top players in the area. It's just that sometimes he's not consistent in doing that, and it's on him to be more consistent in doing so. And I think if he does that, if there is a legit full season for high school, especially in the WCAC, good counsel will be in the mix to win it. Next up, actually the last player, Asai Troutman, it was my first time seeing him. Class of 2022 junior, 6'4" guard out of St. Andrews. He impressed me the most from this weekend. He's super athletic, he's skilled and smart, but his range defensively is off the charts. During one defensive possession, he blocked a shot at the rim, and the ball went out to three-point range, which the opposing team recovered to continue their offensive possession. Then they moved the ball, and as their guard rose up to shoot a three, Troutman ran out from the paint and blocked his three, sparked a fast break for his team, which ended with him laying it in. Offensively, he knocked down 1-2 dribble pull-ups from mid-range easily, got to the basket for strong finishers, and was unstoppable in transition, usually resulting in dunks. Troutman is definitely a high major talent due to his impact on both ends. He already has offers from Indiana, Georgetown, Florida, and Bryant, just to give you an idea of where he is, and he still has room to grow being a junior. Also, keep an eye on Dylan Edwards from St. Andrews, point guard, Miles Webb from St. Agnes, 6'7" Antoine Jacks out of good counsel point guard. He's already committed to Fairleigh Dickinson. Mike Woods, Frederick Douglass guard, and especially 6'8" freshman point forward Garrett Queen out of St. Francis in Baltimore. He's the top ranked freshman in the area and top 5 nationally. Like I said, he's still growing into his body, but he has legit guard skills with that size. Once he finishes growing, I could definitely see a Lamar Odom type impact coming. He's that talented. It was crazy seeing him for the first time. And that's my standouts for this week. I'll be up there this weekend. And next week I'll have week 2 of standouts from the PYBL Fall Showcase.
All right, and I'm sure that's along with many watching. We'll be looking forward to 2 dates. The week 2 list. Quick update from DC United. They kept their playoff hopes alive. The playoff hopes are extremely slim, but they're still alive with a 2-1 win for FC Cincinnati on the road. 5 teams out of the playoff spot in the East with 4 matches to play. They now trail FC Cincinnati about 1 point in standings. Their Terps got the job done for the Black and Red. Donovan Pines got his 2nd goal of the season after the keeper couldn't secure a free kick. And then Chris Adoye-Achem it's tapped in a rebound from a great shot by Kevin Paredes for the game winner. Adoye-Achem picked a heck of a time to get his first career goal. Obviously, your first goal is a game winner. Going to feel great, feel even better as a defender. DC United's back on the road this weekend when they travel to Atlanta to take on Atlanta United. As for the 9-4-50 breakdown, this week Jamal Hayward will be breaking down scoring options for the big who rolls after setting a screen. Again, breaking down scoring options for the big who rolls after setting a screen. After this, be followed by a break. Then when we get back, debut our new segment. You're watching the Focus TV.
Here, pass, hold it. On this side, I'll be right for it. So if I run out here, again, I can run out, or get it off the left foot. Go back, go. You're going to do 5 of those. The next 5, open up. Good at it. Shot. 5 roll. Next 5. Run into a post up. There. Yeah, that's the first one. So the 3 options you have on the wall. First one is the post. 1. Yeah, so hand here. So. that last dribble. Yes. On that last dribble. So up. Alright, so we're gonna start here. Working on roll options. So you can run out or run that roll. So this is actually first here. And hold it. So on this side I'll be right foot. So if I run out here, again I can run out or get it off the left foot. Go back. Go. You're going to do 5 of those. The next 5. Open up. Get at it. Shot. 5 of those. Next 5. Turn into a post up. Hey. That's the third one. So there's 3 options you have on the wall. First one is the post. One. Yeah, so hand here. So. 1. 2. Back down. 3. Up. Shot. So on that last dribble. Yes. On that last dribble. So we up.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. Once again, want to thank Jamal Hayward for the 9-4-50 breakdown. All right, so we're going to debut the new segment. It is officially time for that. Like we said, NBA, WNBA seasons are completed. Truly enjoyed that time. Congrats to both of them for getting through the bubble situation. In one piece without what the NFL is going through right now, where every 2 seconds there's a COVID stoppage, you're worried because they don't have this stuff together. That's it. So this could be the DMV college preview. Gonna take a look at all the teams in this area, being men's, women's, all different levels on the collegiate level, and just give you guys a quick breakdown of backcourt, front court, and roster changes as we head into this year. Cardell, we're gonna kick off with you. Oh, I'm sorry, Ray. We're gonna kick off with you with Howard's men's basketball.
All right. Yeah, just gonna give a brief overview of Howard's men's team this year. It's a lot of excitement around the program right now. They hired Kenny Blakeney last year. He's a local guy. Went to Lamothe, also went on to play for Duke University, and has a pretty extensive coaching resume prior to Howard, mainly as an assistant. Last year, they kind of struggled a little bit. They were 4-29 overall, 1-15 in conference. But it's a lot of optimism surrounding this season. Of course, the big news was Moyer committing to Howard. He's the highest recruit in program history. But they're definitely looking to build and compete in the MEAC this season. The backcourt situation is pretty solid. Their front court had a complete makeover. I'm just going to get into a couple players here. Khalil Robertson, he's started as a freshman last year. He started 19 out of 24 games, but he had a season-ending injury. But put up a pretty decent number, 7 points, 4 assists a game. He led the team in assists. He should be ready to rock this year, though. He's a good floor general, controls the pace of the game, takes care of the basketball, solid defensively. He's got to improve on his shooting. He was 40% from the field last year and 28% from 3-point range. But he was 81% from the line, which is pretty decent. As backcourt mate, Bristol Jr., He's a 6'6" versatile scorer. He was second on the team last year with 13 points per game. He's averaged 15 in conference play. Shot 43% from three. He was the MEAC Rookie of the Year. When he got a year under his belt to kind of adjust to the college game and work on his body. So he should take a big leap this season. As I said, the front court is probably going to do it by committee this year. They got Sam Green, who's a grad transfer from Drexel. He's a local kid. He went to McNamara. He's just a bruiser, 6'6", 230. He was a captain for Drexel last year in his senior season. This Howard team, they're pretty young, so having a older, experienced guy will definitely be a plus for them. William Settle, he's another forward. He redshirted last year. Also a local kid. He's a Lamothe graduate, 6'10", great length and athleticism. And the one thing people talk about with him is his work ethic. Christian Johnson, another local guy from a DCIAA product. He graduated from Ron Brown. He's a freshman. He made DCIAA first team last year. Good size is 6'7". He's probably going to see some important minutes in his freshman season. The one that most intrigues me is Jordan Wood. His recruiting really picked up when he transferred to Cornerstone in senior year high school. They due to them playing a national schedule. 6'9", 200 pounds. He can really stretch the floor. He's shown he could be comfortable at the 2, 3, and 4 offensively. Has playmaking ability. He really caught Coach Blakeney's eye when he played in the National Hoop Fest at DeMather last December. And of course, we got McCall Maker. He's Howard's shiny new toy. He's going to undoubtedly bring a lot of attention to the program. Especially if he plays well, which I have no doubt that he will. He's just extremely skilled for a player his size. 6'11", can put the ball on the floor, make plays. He's athletic. His three-point shot's a little inconsistent, but of course that'll improve with time. But he does have the ability to step out and make defenses have to respect it. He's an NBA prospect, so he should be immediately effective in college. Just some things in regards to him. He just needs to be more assertive on offense at times, and he struggles finishing in traffic around the basket. Has some defensive lapses, and also being nearly 7 feet. He's not really an elite shot blocker, but he's a great rebounder. Some key subtractions from Howard. They lost Charles Williams, who was there. He led the team in scoring at 18 points per game. He's also the all-time leading scorer in MEAC history. But I spoke about Wayne Bristol earlier. He should be able to comfortably step into that position. And also Zion Cousins, he led the team in rebounding last season at 7.4 rebounds per game. So so this year at that front court, of course, Maker's going to be the centerpiece, but that 3 and 4 spot is going to be pretty much filled by a lot of different guys. But this season should be a good look for Howard. Blakeney's in his second year as head coach, and he's looking to build some things. Of course, signing Maker was a huge deal. Not only for Howard but HBCUs in general, and it just kind of ignited a conversation that was really already happening, and we see is sort of gaining some traction. I don't think another big time recruit like that is committed as of yet, but it's definitely being talked about and something that we'll probably see shift in the future. But last year there, Howard's young guys, they got a lot of valuable experience. So this year they should be ready to step into bigger roles. And it's just good to see not only a local team but a local HBCU just get a lot of attention and buzz. And should fans be allowed in games, it'll really be good for that program.
All right, on Cardell with the George Washington men's program.
All right, I'm gonna do a quick recap for last season for those that may not know. It was the first season under Jamie and Christian. GW finished the season 12-20 overall, 6-12 and 8-10 conference play. Senior point guard. Senior point guard led the Colonials with 14.7 points per game, 5.8 assists. Senior forward Arnaldo Toro led GW with 7 rebounds. He's now a transfer at St. John's. During and following the season, GW lost to junior guard Justin Mazzulla, Arnaldo Toro, sophomore forward Mezzi Offerum, and reserve freshman guard Sean Walker Jr. to the transfer portal. It's not just GW. It's an epidemic that's going on across college basketball. Players hitting the transfer portal. I call it college free agency. That's basically what it is. Each and every year, you can get what you need. It's chaos right now, but especially with the pandemic, it's only going to be even worse. So GW is definitely hit hard by that. But just like they were hit hard, they actually benefited from it as well. Obviously, with roster spots to fill, Christian hit the transfer portal himself and signed grad student from Vanderbilt, Matthew Moyer, former LSU guard James Bishop, who's a local product out of Mount St. Joseph in Baltimore, Sloan Seymour out of Siena, 6'10" sophomore Hunter Dean out of Southern Miss, and former Maryland forward Ricky Lendo, who played high school basketball here in D.C. at Wilson High School. But he would be the only player out of the bunch not active this season, as he got to sit out this season due to the transfer rules. As far as the backcourt is concerned, expect a lot of shooting, especially from three-point range. Senior guard Maceo Jack, sophomore point guard Jameer Nelson Jr. Yes, for people that may know, that's the son of Jameer Nelson, played at St. Joe's and a long time in the NBA. And sniper forward Jameson Battle were all double-digit scorers last season. Nelson Jr. and Jameson Battle were freshmen, so that tells you about their talent and their potential. James Bishop is a capable scorer and a shooter. He was a lethal scorer in the high school and AAU circuit. Amir Harris is another dynamic guard at 6'5", that another local product that can score and facilitate. And freshman guards Tyler Brailsford and Lincoln Ball, both coming with decorated high school careers and should be key contributors in the reserve role this upcoming season. In the front court, that begins with sophomore big Chase Barr. You know, he showed flashes of being a future all-conference player last season as a freshman. His size at 6'9", his toughness and stretchful skills pretty much guarantees a mismatch of some kind for him, game in and game out. 6'9" sophomore Sloan Seymour knocked down 94 threes as a freshman at Siena. Definitely he would be given the green light to shoot. 6'8" Matt Moyer adds another big game experience to a fairly young roster. Playing at Vanderbilt and SEC, he experienced some big time games against high majors, so he'd be able to kind of show the way in a sense. Skywalker, 6'10" Hunter Dean will bring size, high energy, and athleticism to a front court that, keeping it real, severely lacked it last season. At 6'11" center, freshman out of Flint Hill, Noel Brown, and 6'10" senior A-stars will provide, some great potential and depth to the Colonials front court. Overall, I definitely expect the Colonials to improve and be more competitive in year two under Christian. I can see Nelson Jr., Battle, Jack, and Parr all being lead candidates, all conference candidates, and GW being one of the top 3-point shooting and scoring teams in the conference. The problem is the A-10 will be the strongest it's been in years. I mean, probably the strongest since I've been covering GW way back in 2014. So to say GW will be at the top of the conference may be a stretch right now, especially that the conference has 5 teams in Dayton, Richmond, Rhode Island, St. Louis, and Duquesne that won 21 games or more last year. And they're returning the majority of those players. I know Obi Toppin is not in Dayton. Obviously, he's going to be a lottery pick, but they still bring back, all the other guys that were around him. It wasn't just him. They were a dangerous team. And 3 teams, St. Bonaventure, VCU, and George Mason, they all finished the season within 17 and 19 wins, respectively. So that just tells you how strong that conference is going to be. It's going to be hell. And I can see GW knocking on the door of 20 wins this season and having a couple of all-conference players, but it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be hell, so you want to come to play every game. So we'll see what happens. Stay tuned.
All right, Maryland Women's. COVID hit them very quick last year. The women's NCAA tournament, you had some teams that already finished their conference tournament, like Maryland. They were ready, selection Monday was like right there. They were hoping that they're going to be a Monday in the tournament. But this is one of the many things COVID took away. But the Terps captured their 4th Big Ten title and the first since 2017. Big Ten tournament title, first since 2017 with an 82-65 win over Ohio State last year. As for some of the players that they lost, Kyla Charles, Stephanie Jones, Blair Watson, all gone via graduation and or draft. Taylor Mikesell, Shakira Austin left via the transfer portal that Cardell's mentioned. College free agency, gotta love it. As for the transfer that they've brought in, at least this season, you got Harvard transfer Katie Benson. She should provide another weapon from beyond the arc. She has the ability to handle as well. Mississippi State transfer Chloe Bibby, another versatile forward from Maryland to add to their collection. She started 31 of 33 games last year. And then Alazia Birdie Styles, she's a 6'3" forward transfer from Cal. She started 30 games for the Golden Bears, but I'm not sure at this moment if she's immediately eligible. As for the front court, we'll start with the front court. Maybe Kylie transferred last season, so she already sat out. She's ready to go this year. She was at Tennessee the year before that. She's a local talent, and her being there should help lessen the blow of some of the players they lost up front. Faith Masonis enters her second year. Again, part of the stable of very versatile forwards Brenda has at her disposal. One of the top recruited players in the country. And Angel Reese is her freshman year. She's able to get comfortable as quick as Ashley Owusu did last year. For Maryland, they'll be in a good place. Diamond Miller, part of that freshman class of last season. She looks to build off of that campaign. Again, another 6'3", rangy forward for Brenda. They have a lot of those, if you haven't caught on yet. As for the backcourt, Shanice Lewis is back this year. Shanice has been a steadying hand for Maryland. Usually is a backup point guard. She had an ACL injury, or she had a knee injury last year. So Owusu will have a little bit of help in that department. Last year, she lost some heavy minutes because they never really had a capable second primary ball handler because Lewis was out. Freshman guard Tazia Kozlova, she's coming in 6'1". She's providing some more size and the ability to shoot. And then Maryland will also have the services of redshirt freshman Zoe Young, who missed last season with an ACL injury, I believe. So they're getting some people back. Brenda's kind of getting comfortable navigating through, the transfer portal now. Like maybe 3-4 years ago, they were devastated by it. And they've done a good job restocking. And, if everything goes right, they look to make another run in the Big Ten and beyond if things go right. All right, before we close out, I guess, Cardell, we got time for one rapid-fire question. What you got for us?
Before I start, Armel Potter led GW in scoring last year. I forgot to mention him. Let's see what we got. Jamal Murray in the interview says Steph Curry is the hardest cover in the NBA. Talking to Drew Schiller, NBC Sports Bay Area, they asked him flat out who's the toughest cover in the NBA. He said Steph Curry. He said, 1, because of his shot, but 2, because you don't know what he's going to do. You don't know if he's just going to pull it. You don't know if he's just going to end up going by you, or if he's going to cross you over 6 times and then shoot and look away. You have absolutely no clue what he's going to do. Do you feel that Steph Curry is the toughest cover in the NBA? I'll start with you, Octavia.
It's always hard for me to say legit the toughest cover, but he's arguably because like you said and stuff is so quick and like he said you can't really tell what he's about to do because everything kind of looks the same. He kind of keeps everything in the same way. You don't know if he's going to dish it, you don't know if he's going to lay it up, you don't know if he's going to cross it up. I could still never get over the cross up that he did against Chris Paul when Chris Paul was still with the Clippers. He turned that man in 2 circles before going past him. And we look at Chris Paul as one of the best defenders as well. So he's definitely on point with this. It's always up to people's discretion, but I can definitely see that as him being, if not the toughest cover in the league.
Right.
Yeah, with Murray being a point guard and having to be responsible for that, I can definitely see why he would say Steph is the toughest cover. I mean, you know, with all the things he brought up that he's able to do with the ball, I really think the most dangerous that Steph is without the ball. Like he gets off it, then he relocates, and you have to follow him because you know if you give him an inch of space, he's going to catch the ball and let it go. So, I mean, just with his overall skill set, he's definitely got to be in the conversation. Whenever you gotta take notice of a guy as soon as he crosses half court, I mean that just speaks volumes right there. So, you know, as hard as it is to guard him when he gets the ball, you know, just his movement and you know, and what he's able to do from that standpoint. I mean, you can't take a second to breathe. You can't lose focus because if you do, that's all he needs. He's literally effective on offense for every second that his team has the ball, and that's a lot to have to account for. So yeah, I mean, if Jamal Murray feels that way, I'm pretty sure he has good reason, you know, having to stick him 4 times a year. So and thankfully he's not one of the people that have forgotten about him since he was, you know, since we didn't see much of him last year. So yeah, I can definitely see why Murray would say that.
All right, Wilson.
Yeah, he's probably like 1B for me. But it's up there. And like you guys both said, the relocation, that's the part I think that's the most dangerous. Even the fact that, you know, we set so many back screens, and usually once he sets a back screen, everybody loses him for some weird reason. And he's wide open all the time. And the other thing is there's no spot on the floor that's safe. Where someone else, you might be like, all right, I could give him 2 feet, right? And then they're in range. No, you're just not safe. No. And the only reason I got him 1B is just because, you know, the other thing is 7 foot. So, yeah.
I mean, for me, it's all subjective. It's based on your position, who you have to deal with or not. But I do understand where he's coming from because, you know, guys like, you know, the KDs, the LeBrons and stuff, they have so many physical advantages. It's weird. Like they already feel you can't stop them, so they kind of come to you. It's less work. You just have to be willing to battle, to fight. Steph don't have those physical advantages. He has to rely on a lot of skill and IQ, and that means you have to be highly intelligent and be on your P's and Q's even more. So in a way, he is harder to guard than anybody else because when you combine the skill and IQ with the way he can create on a bounce, the way he moves without the ball, and still can facilitate and get guys involved, the range he has and stuff, it's just a nightmare to guard, man. I mean, kind of my favorite thing where I knew Steph was different when he was really just starting to come on strong after all the injuries was, you know, the Kemba game with Charlotte. You know, the Mike caught Kemba reacting, and it was cold because it was just like that's the same reaction every defender would have dealing with that right then and there. You know, it was just like, yo, where the help at? Then when he ran out, Steph was spotting up for 3. He just stopped. He just looked at him because he knew it was like, it ain't no point in me wasting energy trying to contest this dude. And of course, Steph made the jumper. I was like, yo, yeah, he is different. Kemba was trying to strap him too. He was trying to get him up out of there, you know. But I mean, he cold, man. It is what it is, though. It's a reason why he got 3 rings. It's the reason why he made, you know, he's the face of the franchise. Helped make Golden State a perennial lottery team, a dynasty. There's only a couple players that's been able to do that, man. And you gotta give him his props, dog. I mean, I get it because if you're playing point guard, you gotta deal with him. I mean, he's 1A as far as point guards go. He got the rings, he got the MVPs, he got the accolades. All the other point guards chasing him, so I totally get it. Last question. Saturday night. It was a big boxing match. Teofimo Lopez versus Vasily Lomachenko. Lopez, the young boy, you upset Lomachenko, who's considered pound for pound the best boxer on the planet. At just 23 years old, Teofimo Lopez became the undisputed lightweight champion of the world by dethroning Vasily Lomachenko in over 12 tense rounds inside MGM Grand Conference Center in Las Vegas Saturday night. Lopez becomes the youngest fighter to become a 4-belt champion since the WBO was founded in 1988. After a strong start, Lopez overcame a late Lomachenko rally to win by the scores of 116, 112, 119 to 109, and 117 to 111. The bout was dominated early by the boxing of Lopez, who controlled the center of the ring, with his left hand, and then hit Lomachenko with well-placed body shots, that had the smaller Lomachenko kind of backing up a little bit. Lopez is 16-0 with 12 knockouts. He built a big lead on the scorecards, and he was able to, neutralize the rally of Lomachenko, who's now 14-2 with 10 knockouts, behind that jab. What are your thoughts on that, on the fight? We're gonna start with you, Raymond.
Man, I was just really impressed with Lopez. I was anxious to see if he was going to be able to to box with Lomachenko. I knew he was the bigger, stronger guy, but Lomachenko's savvy, and his footwork is amazing, and he's usually able to to put guys in bad spots. But Lopez was patient. He didn't overextend himself, which that's what I was really looking for in this fight, because I didn't know if he was just going to try to steamroll him and bully him, but I felt like if he did that would play into Lomachenko's hands because of his skill and his evasiveness. But early on it was all Lopez, and Lomachenko really didn't get started till like the 7th round, and yeah, man, Lopez was smart. He stuck to the script. He was disciplined. He didn't take a lot of unnecessary chances, and he did start to kind of run out of steam. I felt like rounds 8 through 11 was all Lomachenko, but in the 12th round, Lopez jumped right back in there, got aggressive, and took that round and took the fight. But yeah, man, it was great to see. Like I said, I was thoroughly impressed. I hope they run it back. But yeah, man, that's good stuff from Lopez right there.
All right, Wilson.
I was just impressed by his poise. It was one thing to execute the game plan, get out to a lead, and then just hang on, because you knew Loma would respond at some point, right? And just to make sure it didn't get away from you. That's what I was the most impressed by. Like Ray said, I do hope they run it back. So the kid's 23. Looking forward to seeing what he does next.
All right, Octavia.
Yeah, I mean, you guys kind of covered most of it. I was just trying to see if he was going to be able to, back up all the trash talk, be able to stay out there and box with him, and not be overwhelmed by the moment and everything. And he was able to take the rounds early. And like Ray said, Lomachenko, of course, was going to come back and was able to, gain momentum in round 8 through 11. But also, as Wilson said, like Lopez being able to be poised, take those hits, and still make sure that he tries to execute his game plan, and it worked out. And I definitely would be foreseeing another match with them too.
I think the young boy out chess matched the vet. I think he did. That's Lomachenko's style. Play a chess match. Kind of see what you bring in the first rounds, and then he just take you out. You know what I mean? But Lopez, you could tell, did his homework on him, and he knew that's how he was gonna come. And he kind of checkmated, the chess champion in a sense, because this was your typical. This wasn't your typical like brawling, boxing match. Who's the toughest, just slug it out type deal. This was more of a mental battle, IQ battle. Who was more savvy, and you don't see that normally with the vets like Lomachenko get out, smarted by the younger guys. So that tells you he's a student of the game on top of what he brings to the table. You know what I mean? So he brought it to Lomachenko, and he jumped on the cards, and then when Lomachenko rallied the stuff, he didn't, even when his corner kind of telling him, you got to fight one, just kind of like just survive. He didn't leave it like that. He didn't want to leave it to the judges. And I think a lot of fighters can learn from that, especially young fighters. Don't leave it to the judges, because we all know in this game sometimes the judges they be tripping. like even some of the scores from this fight was, I thought it was closer than what it was, even though I did have Lopez, kind of won, well, not kind of having him winning, but that's what he did. So when Lomachenko rallied, he kept boxing, he kept fighting, and that's what won the fight. And to be the champion with 4 belts, that's big time at 23. That's unheard of. So I'm anxious to see where he go in the future, and definitely would love to see a rematch as well.
All right. I want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Just a reminder, head over to DCTV to catch the show each week, 10 p.m. Friday nights. Also, DCTV.org to give you a little idea of when the show airs. Usually airs a couple times over the weekend as well. And as always, get over to finestmag.com, amanosports.com. We'll see you guys next week.